A very warm welcome to our TV News, folks, and thank you very much for joining us here this evening. We hope you had yourselves a very productive day. Now, top of our edition tonight, these are our headlines. President Paul Kagame has received letters of credence from 12 new envoys, all of which have expressed their commitment to strengthening the bilateral ties that exist between their respective countries and Rwanda. The statistics of the results of the study published by the Economic Policy Research Network, EPRN, show that 50.4% of the 2,039 people with disabilities interviewed do not have access to loans provided by financial institutions. Very glad to have your company tonight. Once again, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Avera. Starting things off, President Paul Kagame has received letters of credence from 12 new envoys, all of which have expressed their commitment to strengthening the bilateral ties that exist between their respective countries and Rwanda. We have more.
Among those to present her credentials at Village Urugwiro on Tuesday was Israel's new ambassador to Rwanda.
Israel and Rwanda has, as you know, specific, very unique relations. Our history, our future, our present. I think there are no other country in the world that shares the same value as Israel shares with Rwanda. I'm honored to see our countries go further together, to do more beautiful things together.
Germany's new ambassador also presented her letter of credence to His Excellency Paul Kagame, and she too expressed her desire to strengthen the strong ties that exist between the two countries.
I'm committed to work hard on strengthening the bilateral relations between Rwanda and Germany. There's a multitude and a real wealth of connections between Rwanda and Germany, people-to-people contacts, institutions, companies. So I'm discovering what's going on, and I'm looking forward to seeing everything in this beautiful country. And yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here.
Korea's new ambassador also presented his credentials and later outlined specific areas of cooperation he intends to focus on during his tenure.
You know, Korea was a very poor and recipient country. But within one generation, we became provider country when it comes to development cooperation. So, you know, Rwanda has become an example of development cooperation. So with very effective ICT and agriculture and education, many areas.
Other new envoys to present their credentials to the president included the High Commissioner of the Republic of Malta, the Ambassador of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, the High Commissioner of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, the Ambassador of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Zambia, the High Commissioner of the Kingdom of Eswatini, and the Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Malta is the smallest member of the European Union. Despite being the smallest member, we have quite a big presence, both within the European Union, but also on the international level, because we're members of the UN Security Council. So despite our size, we have a big voice. And we wish to amplify that voice in partnership with Rwanda. So in January 2021, Malta launched a strategy for Africa, where we identified the countries that we would really like to work in partnership, and Rwanda is on that list very distinctly. Why did we choose Rwanda? Because we are both relatively small countries with a big voice. We're also countries that are members of the Commonwealth, and we're also countries that look to the future.
Ethiopia and Rwanda really do have long-standing bilateral relations. It's historical, and so especially Ethiopia value a lot to relations that we have with Rwanda. So I hope we will have a lot of things to do to improve and cement our bilateral relation with Rwanda in the coming years.
The new ambassador of the Republic of Guinea has become the first from that country to have residence in Kigali. In total, 7 of the 12 diplomats who presented their credentials to the President of the Republic have their residencies in Kigali, with the others based in Kampala, Dar es Salaam, Addis Ababa, Maputo and Tunis.
The Rwandan Development Board states that the Visit Rwanda campaign made a 56% contribution in the Rwanda's tourism sector. Adam Squizera with more.
It has been 5 years since the launch of the Visit Rwanda campaign. It started off with the signing between the Rwanda Development Board and the Premier League giants, Arsenal FC. And after only 1 year, the RDB signed with the Ligue 1 all-time champions, Paris Saint-Germain. Some of the tourism sector personnel emphasized that this Rwanda campaign boosted their revenues. The tourists that used to visit Rwanda increased significantly, since the increase is not only based on the RDB reports, but is also affirmed by us, the practitioners, because we really hosted many clients, since for us, we do both the domestic and international tourism. The Rwanda Development Board states that in 2018, the Visit Rwanda contributed to the job creation of about 140,000 people in the tourism sector from 90,000 in 2017. Some of the foreigners in Rwanda says that this campaign made Rwanda remarkable, hence even some decided to invest in Rwanda.
My first time, it was amazing. I can't say anything better than that, to be honest, because it was, I love this country, and since I started to live here, I feel like a part of this country, and I think you have beautiful places, beautiful people, and there's so much potential, so that's why I love to sell Rwanda.
What I knew, what people know is about the gorillas. I think Kwitizina is a fantastic way of portraying the country. It puts Rwanda on the map, and it opens the door to an opportunity to move beyond the gorillas. But the gorillas is the main magnet for international tourism, and I'm very happy to see what the country is doing with Visit Rwanda and the opportunity that Kwitizina gives to open the doors to other destinations in the country.
The RDB report demonstrated that in 2022, the tourism sector generated a remarkable increase in tourism revenues, with more than 400 billion Rwandan francs recorded in 2022 compared to 160 billion Rwandan francs in 2021, representing a 171% increase. On 27th August 2023, Rwanda announced a new signing deal with the Bundesliga and European football champion FC Bayern Munich. Tourism sector personnel say that they are ready to benefit from yet another opportunity. Our country will be known through this deal, and to also contribute much to our development, since you know that tourists are not here to save their money, but to spend them and remain in our country as well. The Chief Executive Officer of Rwanda Development Board emphasized that for the past 5 years, the Visit Rwanda campaign was effective in the sectors of economy and tourism in general.
Nowadays,
there are many people who knows Visit Rwanda or who likes Visit Rwanda, and there are many who even request for the permit for using the Visit Rwanda brand, which means that abroad and in the country, Rwanda itself is known because of this Visit Rwanda. Even those who request partnering with us, they noticed our achievements, which made them to make a proposal so that we can work together. Same to Bayern Munich deal. It's because they saw what we did. More on this, all of the money that we invest in this campaign comes from gorilla permit funds. So you understand that we can afford all those deals, since you heard that we don't get that money from other places, except from the country's tourism.
Moreover, this Rwanda branding will prominently feature on matchday LED boards at the club's 75,000-seater Allianz Arena, plus various initiatives and activities that will be organized to promote tourism and investment opportunities in Rwanda. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adam Squizera, for that report. Now, not moving far from it, football experts demonstrate that the Visit Rwanda FC Bayern Munich deal is an extraordinary opportunity for the Rwanda's sports and economic sector's development. Prince Manzi with more.
Welcome to the FC Bayern family.
August 27, 2023 marked the official announcement that the Visit Rwanda is an official platinum partner of the Bundesliga giants FC Bayern Munich. Football experts say that this is a great step Rwanda has made.
Bayern
is one of the greatest football clubs in Europe, not only in Germany. PSG is a great team locally but not the most famous like Marseille. Arsenal in England is the best locally, but there are also other greater teams. But Bayern is great locally and internationally. It has many cups locally than any other, and it has currently 6 UEFA Champions League cups. This means that having a deal with Bayern, it is another dimension.
In
Europe, it has 6 Champions League cups, 1 shot behind the Real Madrid and AC Milan, which means that it is in the first 3 teams in Europe. It is even more developed locally in terms of fan base and having great players. It is a great team. The greatness of this team is emphasized as well by the Germany residents. Bayern Munich is really the greatest team with bigger fan base in most of the cities around here. It is a team Germans are proud of. Every young professional dreams of joining it.
FC Bayern Munich is the most famous football club in the whole of Germany, and everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Like every child knows it, every parent.
Does he dream to join the Bayern Munich?
Many kids dream of it.
And the components of the deal include youth football development and the coach education program. Here, sports experts say that not only is Bayern Munich's coaches the best, but generally, the Germany has a great record internationally when it comes to coaching. Before having players, we first ask ourselves, where do they come from? Who are the trainers? So having that expertise being provided by the Germans, it is a great thing, and the examples are there. Bayern on its own is being managed by Thomas Tuchel. The Champions League winner afterwards was Jurgen Klopp, who is also a German native. Germans are globally known to have great coaching skills. Experts add that when the country's leadership exert efforts into sports development, sector players have the assignment to drive the sector to desired goals.
The
FIFA Congress took place here, the stadiums being established. You can see that the leadership of the country is investing in sports, but it seems that those in the sector are not collaborating for its development, and it is mostly because everyone is willing to work for his credits rather than the sector at large. The Rwanda Development Board states that ever since the initiation of the Visit Rwanda campaign, it contributed to the increase of the number of international visitors.
The statistics of the results of a study published by the Economic Policy Research Network, also known as EPRN, show that 50.4% of the 2,039 people with disabilities interviewed do not have access to loans provided by financial institutions. We have more on this report.
Charles Wirekehaho, who is visually impaired, says that he and others who are visually impaired as well do not receive good services from financial institutions, and in general, those who are visually impaired are pitied by those institutions, as confirmed by Gaudence Mushimiyimana, who represents disabled women.
We wonder
why they do not digitize the forms that they ask us to fill, whether you use a phone or a laptop. It will be easier instead of having to ask someone to fill out the forms for you. It would solve a lot of problems, because sometimes the service providers are busy, can't really give the attention that you need. So it would be better if it was digitized.
ubundi iyo tuvuze umuntu ufite ubumuga
Normally, when we talk about people with disabilities, it doesn't mean they are helpless 100%. The same way those who don't have disabilities don't use their money the same way. However, the perception that people have over those with disabilities is the main issue. Nonetheless, these people should be treated fairly and given the same assistance that they need, because financial inclusion is very important, and the fact that they have taken the initiative to acquire these services is even more reason for them to be supported. The statistics of results of the study published by the Economic Policy Research Network, EPRN, shows that 49.6% of the 2,039 people with disabilities interviewed are the ones who have access to loan services provided by financial institutions. Seth Kwizera, Executive Director of EPRN, which conducted the research, talks about the weight of this problem.
We specifically focused on people with disabilities. You know, for instance, when people are going to inquire or to seek loans, there are some requirements, including like forms to be filled, other requirements. Like there are some people, for instance, if you have the disability which can't allow you to fill those forms, then you are like limited. Some banks were saying, no, you can come with someone to help you filling this form. But you see, some information like this loan information, they are confidential. Why can't the banks or other microfinance services have some specific products reserved to people with disability so they can also be included?
2020 National Institute of Statistics Rwanda figures show that 25% of people with disabilities do not have access to financial services, compared to 7% of people without disabilities. The Rwanda Environment Management Authority and Rwanda Climate Change and Development Network warned the public on that at least 30 types of pesticides used in agriculture, as they have effects on humans such as cancer, skin disorders, amongst others. Prince Manzi with more.
These pesticides on the list of the unacceptable in Rwanda are still used across the country in agriculture and affecting humans, as explained by Dr. Alexandre Rutikanga, a scientist in agriculture.
ariko ingaruka twabonye mu bushakashatsi ni ingaruka z'igihe kirekire.
The effects we recognized in the research are long-term effects. The effects include cancer, impotence, chronic headache, and these effects manifest as you spend much time in that area and not protected. The effects were found in farmers as well as the suppliers of these pesticides.
Ni imwe mu ngaruka ziriya miti yica udukoko inarwanya indwara.
The coordinator of the Rwanda Climate Change and Development Network, Faustin Vuningoma, states that the reason for this warning is that these pesticides should not be causing trouble, as they can be substituted with other better pesticides, hence urging institutions in charge to ensure the removal of hazardous substances.
In some countries, they have already been put off their market. We think that we equally need to think much more about this. Our scientists should think better of how we can get better pesticides that can be used, other than using pesticides that have already been rejected on other countries' markets. And specifically because they are hazardous either to human life or to the environment and biodiversity. And Minagri should be on the top, or should be on top of this. Identify the most hazardous, remove them from the market, ensure that they are not imported in the country, ensure that they are not used, and make sure that we are protecting people's lives and the environment.
The Rwanda Environment Management Authority states that there is a need to raise awareness, as regardless of the efforts made, there are challenges, including smuggling.
Even if the government of Rwanda has ratified those international treaties and the convention, and the government also, through REMA and the other key institutions, has already started implementing those treaties and convention, but still there is a gap, or there is a challenge to implement them. Among those challenges, some people still, the smugglers, are importing those chemicals in a legal way, and maybe there is also another need to raise awareness.
Such a treaty rejecting these pesticides was signed by Rwanda in 2003.
Health practitioners note that disabilities can be prevented or corrected when detected at an early stage, and that this helps to prevent further consequences that can result from these disabilities. Olive Nete with more.
A parent who chose to stay anonymous has a child with hearing impairment. She says that she noticed it when the child was in primary school. When he reached in P4, that's when we found out about his disability. Before that time, I would even discipline him, thinking that he was distracted. But after, his teacher called me and asked me about him, and he told me that the child only hears when he's looking into the eyes of the one who's speaking. He urged me to take the child to the hospital, pledging that he has a problem. When we reached at the hospital, they examined him and they told me that he has a hearing impairment. Apparently, his ears were not functioning. She says that noticing the disability at a late stage affected the child in many ways, especially his education. However, she states that getting a hearing aid assisted the child greatly. After detecting his problem at school, they allowed him to sit on the front desk, and he would look at the teacher whenever he's studying, and when he would move from one class to the other, I had to go to school and explain to his new teacher. But you understand that sometimes this affected his education, because at some point the teacher would be fast, and this would hardly affect him, because he can't move at the same pace with the teacher. But after receiving a hearing aid, let him go on his own, because before, I had to go with him wherever he goes, so that he wouldn't meet an accident, just because of that problem. And this also helped me a lot, because I don't have to go to school to explain to every new teacher about his hearing impairment. Health practitioners point out that there are various categories of disabilities. On Tuesday, the Rwanda Biomedical Center, together with partners, released books on management of reversible impairments. The books contain information on how disabilities can be detected earlier and guidelines on how to manage these disabilities. According to Emmanuel Ndaisaba, the Executive Secretary of the National Council of Persons with Disabilities, this will assist to prevent some of the disabilities.
Let's say when you see adults with clubfoot, we unfortunately can't help them because their age doesn't allow us to correct their disability. When you speak to them, they also feel bad about it because they were born at a time when treatment was not available yet. But now we want every child who is born with such disabilities to be treated earlier. We wish to detect the disability earlier so that he can be treated. Let's say if he needs surgery, it can be done earlier to avoid further damages so that the child can grow without disabilities.
Irene Bagahirwa, in charge of injuries and disabilities at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, explains what contains in the books and how it will benefit the population. The books that were released today include one on early detection on disability, which will be used by the community health workers and other people in the village who work closely with families. These books contain information about the development of a child and how people can detect if there is anything that is compromising the development of the child. According to the World Health Organization, nearly 250 million children in the world have some form of disability. In Rwanda, the recent population census conducted in 2022 reported that 3.4% of the population aged 5 years and above had disability. Olive Nete, RTV News.
And on behalf of the news production team and I would like to thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. My name is Martina Avera. Stay safe and have a great night.